Welcome back to News On. As we mentioned, the president announcing that unemployed Americans who are offered a job must take it or lose benefits.
We're going to make it clear that anyone collecting unemployment who is offered a suitable job must take the job or lose their unemployment benefits.
Suitable job. Joining us live now is attorney and Republican strategist Amanda Mackey and Democratic strategist Kelly Hyman. Ladies, thank you both. Pleasure to have you on News On. Love the hair, Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. So I want to get your reaction to what was just said, but earlier we were talking with Nick Ballasy with Just the News, breaking this story, and that we're not really hearing all over mainstream media outlets, doing some investigative reporting there, that it's estimated that $60 billion in fraud has been committed since the pandemic happened, that no safety measures were put into place when it comes to some of these unemployment benefits. $60 billion. Kelly, your reaction to what the president just said, and again, why aren't measures being put in place to prevent this kind of fraud from happening?
Well, I'm not aware, first and foremost, about all this fraud going on. Having said that, though, there usually are some kind of procedures and stuff in place for that. But I think that Biden brings up a good point. If people, have a job opportunity and they get it, that they should take it as well. This is supposed to help people that were struggling economically, personally, and professionally, to help get them on their feet. Unfortunately, some people said it's going to take them months, even years, to get back on their feet. But hopefully we can build back better and get back to normal very soon.
So, Amanda, the president is saying that people can't decline a suitable job, as you heard, offer and keep getting unemployment benefits. But some are arguing on the right that he himself is a reason and is to blame. Take a listen.
I've asked the Department of Labor, Secretary of Labor, to say, are you enforcing the law to make sure if people are offered a job that they're not staying at home? And I still haven't gotten a response. So I'm hearing all across the country. People can't open their restaurants. They can't staff up because people are making more money and they don't want to come back to work. So, I'm glad the president is focused on the fact that it was a horrible jobs number. And I think it's a horrible jobs number because of what the Biden agenda is. The Biden agenda is higher taxes, more regulation. They're going to make it very difficult for our businesses. And on top of that, everything's free. Why do you have to show up to do anything? Free everything now.
So, Amanda, do you agree with what Senator Rick Scott had to say? Is the Biden administration to blame?
Absolutely, he's right. I wrote an op-ed piece on this, and it basically, I took quotes from restaurant owners here. I took quotes from mayors here who basically have said people are struggling to get employees to come to work. The businesses are not operating at full capacity. When they're trying to get back to work, trying to get things going again, they're not operating at full capacity because they don't have the staff. Why? I think it was really well done when Karl Rove this weekend said, if you live in New York, California, or Illinois, you're making about $55,000 off of your unemployment benefits and the bump up through September. For a couple, that's well over $100,000. Why would you go to work if you can sit at home, not have to pay high fuel prices to get to work, not have to pay childcare, and be able to collect a check? It seems pretty obvious what people would do. They're going to sit at home.
Though, let me play devil's advocate there. On the flip side, a lot of people are arguing on the left, and Kelly, you can feel free to chime in here after Amanda responds, that maybe some of these jobs need to pay people more of a livable wage. What do you say to that argument?
Two separate arguments. If you want to talk about minimum wage, you can have a debate about minimum wage. And a lot of people would say that really should be done on a state basis. So, for example, Florida has already enacted a minimum wage law. It was on the ballot and it passed. So Florida is doing a progressive increase in their minimum wage. Other states are doing the same. So the argument is not one and the same. They're two completely separate arguments. I would also say I have seen advertisements here at Dunkin' Donuts in St. Petersburg, Florida, McDonald's, that are paying $10 an hour to flip burgers. If you're flipping burgers making $10 an hour, I think that's a pretty good wage for what this job is preparing you to do. This isn't an end-all be-all job. This is a job to prepare you for other jobs in the future. So really, the arguments are not the same. Right now, we're talking about getting the economy going again. The economy is trying to get up and going again, but people have an incentive because the Democrats in Congress and the president have created an incentive for people to stay home.
Kelly.
That's just a false narrative. Absolutely, we should increase the minimum wage, justice for women, equal work for equal pay. Absolutely, we need to give people enough money to live off of. $10 an hour and for livable work for people with a family to feed and a place to live. We can do better. We can do better for our country.
But what do you say to Amanda, who is making the argument that those jobs are considered, a lot of them, to be entry-level jobs, not to be so much as a career? What would you say about that, Kelly? I mean, should people who are working hard every day, trying to get back to work, have to pay for people who are choosing not to get back to work? I mean, for the people that are watching right now saying, hey, wait a minute, I work hard every day and I'm paying. Why should I have to pay for you to stay home?
Right. And I don't think that people are doing that. We have to think why a lot of people left the workforce. And a lot of them are women who are taking care of their children, who are cooking at home, doing all these duties as well, schooling their children. And it's hard to do that and then do the job as well. So we need to look at why people are not going to the workforce. And I disagree that the fact is because they can stay at home and make more money than not want to get a job.
There are 331,000 hospitality jobs that are open, and they can't find people. So that's the problem. Therein lies the problem. When you create incentives like this to keep people at home, you have industries that are struggling to find people. And that's why you see the cost of everything has gone up. The cost of a lot of the commodities have gone up, but also when you look, like last week they were talking about flowers for Mother's Day. They said that one of the factors was that they didn't have people to go get those flowers, to go pick those flowers. Why? Because we have a labor shortage when you create an incentive for people to not work.
Well, we're going to continue to follow this story, and also the story that Nick mentioned about $6 billion worth of fraud committed during the pandemic. We'll continue to follow that. Meanwhile, I do want to go to something else, shift gears a little bit. So the White House appears to be this kind of a controversial thing. I was kind of shocked when we talked about it during our editorial meeting. So the White House appears to be trying to force reporters now to get approval of official quotes. So basically they're saying that for a person's name to be attached to a quote, the reporter must transcribe the quote and then send them to the White House Communications Office for approval. This just seems odd to me. Kelly, help me understand this.
This is the first time I'm hearing about this. And there is also important to note that there needs to be make sure that the quotes are accurate, truthful as well. I mean, the Biden administration, as led by transparency, having press meetings open to the press. So just want to make sure that the information that goes out, if this is the case, is honest and truthful, so the American people get the right information.
But it almost seems like you're treating these reporters who are professionals as if they're children. We need to double check your homework. We're coming up on a commercial break, so Amanda, I'm going to have you weigh in on this. Yeah, I'm just kind of baffled, but again, I believe in accuracy, so I want to hear what Amanda has to say. And what do you think about this? You can always let us know. # share your voice. You can find me at Real Miranda Khan. So still ahead, we're going to talk about that. Also, controversy at the Pentagon, why the new anti-extremism chief is in hot water for past comments that some actually think are, well, kind of extreme. We'll have our bipartisan panel weigh in on that coming up. Also, we've been talking about Liz Cheney, that big vote taking place tomorrow. Will she maintain that chairwoman position? We're going to share what some of you think about that and whether or not that's going to happen. Also, Tasty Tuesday, that's what day it is. This one's going to be a little different. Let's just say it's kind of more of a Twilight version, if you will. We'll explain next.